said, we want to be able to unmom you by giving you a stay at a hotel. And they said, send in a picture or a video of your kid having a temper tantrum and we'll pick a winner from that. And I was like, are you serious? Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So happy to have you here again. How are you guys all doing with quarantine? I hope you're doing okay. Hopefully your state is starting to kind of get back into the routine of things a little bit. We are like in Washington State where I live in phase 1 of a 4-phase process, and so I don't get to go back to work until phase 2. So we're getting there slowly but surely. Our state parks opened up, which was awesome. Super happy about that because my kids and I love going out. So I hope you're getting outside too, because getting outside helps so much. So today I want to talk about, which I mentioned in my last video, I want to talk about specific ways the self-help community is not helping women. And I did my little research, I got my little notes here, and I kind of picked one specific thought that I want to talk with you guys about. I want to get your input on this. So as I talk, feel free to leave your comment in the comments, because a lot of what I'm going to share is like just things that have come to my mind and I don't really know all the answers. But I want to talk about specifically how the self-help community has kind of focused in some ways on helping women with discontentment. Women being discontent in the areas of being a mom and being a wife, but in the forefront, it's the role of motherhood. And the solution for that is to find something else to do that you're passionate about. And that is kind of like the solution, like do stuff for yourself, like because you're always serving other people. And so you need to be able to serve yourself as well. And you need to be able to be more than a wife and a mother. And I feel like there's a little bit of truth to that, which I will talk about, but I feel like there's a lot of negative things about having that thought process when it comes to our roles. If our solution for being content in life is like doing something else to keep us going, then it's not going to solve the problem totally. It can help when we have hobbies and other interests as a wife and mother, so that we're not just totally zoned into doing everything for our kids, everything for our husband, and having nothing on the side, hobby or interest or part-time job or whatever. I think those things can really help. Like for example, me with my YouTube channel. I do work part-time with my job, but also my YouTube channel is like my fun thing. It is my special thing that I do on my own. My kids, like if I vlog with them, they're involved, but other than that, it's like my special thing that I get to do in my own time, and it's apart from being a mother and being a homemaker, and I really enjoy that. And when I take the time to work on my YouTube channel, I feel like it brings me joy to have that special thing that I do. So I think hobbies can be very helpful with women that are just totally not sucked in, that's not a good way to say it, but are totally involved in doing everything at home and not having something on the side that they can look to for fun. But everything is about balance, right? And I think it's just so important to value our roles as a wife and a mother, whether you are a wife or a mother. I'm just a mother right now, because it is a role from God. Like God, if you're married, God put you in that place. If you're a mom, God put you in that place. And it's a very important and valuable position to be in. And it seems like in the secular world and in some of these self-help communities and train of thought, being a mom is almost seen as a negative thing, that it's so hard and it drains everything out of a woman. Or being a wife, that like you shouldn't have to bend over backwards, like you're just serving other people and it's just gonna suck you dry. I think that being a motherhood is extremely hard. Like I'm not gonna say it's easy. I think that being a mother, it's very hard to be content sometimes when you are serving others, and the same for being a wife. But I think that the solution can't just be like one part, that like you have to just take time to serve yourself and do stuff for yourself, because then we lose where our priorities should be. And I think that our priorities should be God first, then our family. So whether you're married, your husband and your kids, and then friends, and then your job, your other interests should come under that. But if we put like ourselves first and not our family up higher in the priority list, we're going to really struggle in those roles. Something I really have thought about is that sometimes we want solutions for our discontentment and our roles by outward things. And outward things help sometimes, like getting a break. Like this year has been the year where I realized how much getting breaks for my kids has been really helpful. Getting a break, or having a hobby that you're into, or taking time to exercise, eat healthy, like doing those things to be a better person. Those things do help, but they can't be the total solution. And I believe that what may be missing a little bit is the focus on our hearts and our heart issue. Because I just had this thought, and I wrote this down, that you could be like serving your kids and like doing everything for them and for your husband, having a spotless house, and like just being the best parent, not the best parent, the best parent on the outward, but inside your spirit, you could be dealing with anger, you could be dealing with discontentment, you could be dealing with jealousy of other people that maybe have a lifestyle that you want, all these different things, selfishness you could be having on the inside, but your outward actions may look like to everybody else that you're fine and great and everything's wonderful, but your heart is not in the right place. And you know, I feel like that a lot. Do you feel like that? I feel like a lot of times where like I'm begrudging doing things for my kids sometimes, or I don't have a good attitude and I'm struggling in that, or I'm just like, oh, like I can't wait till I get a break. And my heart is not a heart of a servant. And I know that God calls us as Christians to be a servant, and that it comes from the inside by the Holy Spirit's work, and then it's lived outside. Because God, it says in the Bible that God looks at the inside of our hearts. Like man looks at the outside, but God looks at our hearts. I think a big part of it is like so many of us women, as a wife or a mother, feel overwhelmed, like we talked about, struggle with discontentment. And the solution is a heart issue, not by our own doing, but by coming to the Lord and asking Him to transform us from the inside out, and saying, God, like I feel overwhelmed as a mom. I feel like I can't do it. I feel like maybe I don't have the support. Maybe you feel like that you don't have the support or the help that you need. Maybe you feel like your spouse is leaving all the work to you as a parent. I know a lot of women feel like that, where they feel like their husband is just working and coming home and not doing anything to help, and they're struggling in that, and that's where a big part of their discontentment lies. But we have to go to the Lord with our concerns first and foremost, and make that the priority first, and then do those other things that may help, but realizing that our contentment can only lie in Christ alone. Because our hobbies, our children, our spouse, all of those things, if we make them like an idol in our lives, they're always going to let us down, and they're never going to satisfy. But only God is going to satisfy us. Another thing I want to mention is I want to hear what you guys think. I was just listening to the radio. It was a secular radio station, and it was talking about, for Mother's Day, they were doing a giveaway, and they said, we want to be able to unmom you by giving you a stay at a hotel. And they said, send in a picture or a video of your kid having a temper tantrum, and we'll pick a winner from that. And I was like, are you serious? That's a big pet peeve of mine, like people posting videos of their kids having temper tantrums. I feel like you should never share that, because like your kids deserve a sense of privacy. Like, would you want to pick a video of you like getting angry or whatever? And two, this concept of wanting to be unmommed, like we should have a chance to not be a mom, but really, like, I don't know, should we ever like get away from that role? Okay, hear me out. I think breaks, like I said, are super important, but this concept of like, I want to unmom myself for a weekend, like, doesn't seem like the most godly perspective to have. And I have felt that way. Have you ever felt like you wanted to be unmommed? Like, I drove a minivan for like 3 or 4 years, and there were times when I drove it where I kind of felt embarrassed and kind of was like, I just wanna not feel like a mom sometimes when I drive, like especially if my kids weren't with me. And I had horror stories in my mind, or horror like ideas in my mind of like going on a date and having to drive in a minivan, like if I ever had to, which I never did. But now I don't have a minivan, but this idea of us wanting to get away from our role as a mom. And should we ever like totally get away from that role as a mom? Like, shouldn't we carry our children in our hearts, like wherever we are, and in a sense like hold that role in honor and be thankful, and in a sense be proud? I don't mean like in a prideful sense, but be like proud that God gave you children to mother and to parent. I think it's just our whole perspective needing to shift on what we see the roles as wife and mother, that it's a wonderful thing to be able to serve others. It's taxing, it's exhausting. Yes, we need breaks. Sometimes we feel overwhelmed. A lot of times we feel like we can't do it. A lot of times we like want to like be like, I just can't do this. Like this is what I do with my kids when I'm like really frustrated. Sometimes I will put my hands in there and I'll be like, God, give me strength. And my kids think it's funny. They teased me one time and like made fun of me, and Cole was like, God, give me strength. But that's what I do when I'm just like overwhelmed. Like, yes, that's such a big part of being a mom. All of us deal with that. I just wish that we could return honor to the role of mother like it used to be in years gone by, because it's such a special thing. There's so many women that wish they could be a mom that aren't able to be a mom. There's so many moms that are in the empty nest phase that wish they could go back to their kids being home and cherish those memories more. So like, let's, as a community, like if you're a mom, if you're a wife, like hold those roles in greater honor in our lives and thankfulness for what God has given us. Take care of yourself, get breaks, do those things. But I just think that our whole perspective could change in such a positive way, and how we look at those roles. And then if our perspective changes, then we're gonna find more joy in those roles. If we're looking at it as a negative thing and like, I just gotta make it to the next time I get to go work or I get to have a break or whatever, then it's gonna be harder. But if our perspective is from one of joy, I know not all the time, like we are sinful, like it's going to be hard, but if we could just like overall change our perspective, I think it could do amazing things for women to find contentment in the roles that God has given them. Just find the contentment of Christ as we seek more to come to him for strength in those roles and come to him to find joy in those roles, and ask him for those. Ask for joy, ask for strength, ask for help in those roles, ask for a servant's heart. And I think that would just change our whole perspective. And it's something I really want to work on in my own life, because I do struggle with it. I've struggled with it since the beginning of my motherhood journey. So that's what I wanted to share today. I wanted to get this video up before Mother's Day, or on Mother's Day. I think it's going to go on Mother's Day. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments what you think about this topic. If you're a mom, do you struggle with discontentment? If you're a wife, do you struggle with being a homemaker? Let me know what you think. I would love to hear your input on this topic, and I will see you guys in my next video. All right, bye guys.